It's Kevin Connolly, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
Welcome back to a fresh episode of Missin Curfew Up Dog Monday edition.
We got a Monday edition, the live guest.
Right around New Year's, I thought, who better than bringing in Captain Conz, right? Right
Captain
around
Conz.
this guy. Super Wednesday just passed. New Year's is right around the corner.
I can't wait to hear some of these New Year's stories.
I know. So right from Action Park Media, Captain Conz. Conz, how we doing, buddy?
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Looking good, bud. Looking good.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Try to keep it lean going into the holiday. That's where the wheels can come off. So you got to go into the holiday strong and lean, getting the steps in, 10,000 steps.
I was going to ask you.
Is that the only secret, or are you still like moisturizing daily? You got all the, you got to look fresh.
The regimen's going to always stay the same, you know. You got to moisturize. You got to moisturize. That's it. That's the secret. Wash your face and moisturize.
So obviously I'm a big fan of the Victory podcast. I listen to it weekly. So thank you for keep pumping up good content. You and Dylan
are pump out the content, right? How long you guys been going now?
Man,
I mean,
Two and a half. I mean, have you guys missed a week yet?
No, and you know what? It's funny you say that, because when we started the podcast, and we say this a lot, we couldn't have done it without you. But when I talked to you, you said, "Obes, it's key to get things out every week. You can't miss a week, because it's true. They'll
just
forget
leave you
about
in the
you."
dust. Yeah.
Listen. Or maybe around the holidays, you could do a week vacation. But generally speaking, if you disappear on your audience, they'll go somewhere else, right? So you got to continue to crank out the content. You guys have done a great job of that, by the way.
Thank you. It's been 3 years. It'll be 3 years, I think, August.
Yeah. Wow. That we sent the trailer to Conz and said, "Conz, what do you think about this?" And he said, "Bro, come on up here. We could do this."
You sound a little rusty. Come on up. Talking to these mics here.
Well, no. When the funniest, you got to be able to find a clip of the first podcast that you did, Obes, where you're doing it on the beach. I'm like, yo, tell this guy he's got to close the back door.
Josh Cooper, remember he came into your studio with the backpack? You're like, "What do you got in the backpack, bro?"
I had to harass him a little bit, bro, after he recorded the podcast in his back patio with the wind whipping through. He's like, "Yeah, my wife won't let me." I'm like, "Well, tell your wife you got to pay the bills." Odd.
Yeah, that pod wasn't paying anyone's bills, but. Hey, let's talk about that mic stand you got right there. That's a National League looking mic stand. The one that's nice looking.
Bro. It's the same thing, same version of what you guys have. Actually, yours is a little cooler. You guys are branded. See, we got different people. Avery would have a heart attack if he had to talk into a Victory microphone. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Avery would have a heart attack.
Well, Conz, these are Velcro.
Yeah.
I got a guy actually. we'll send you a couple. We'll send you a couple Action Park, and then we'll do Victory, and then we'll send Ave some too.
We could do it no gloves. We'll throw a few on there.
Yeah.
Thanks. Wow, now I feel stupid. You just fucking Velcroed that off and stuck it.
Hey, Conz, one of my favorite parts about Victory is when you talk about being a dad, because, Updog often says to me that I forget that, he has two, beautiful daughter and son now. And when I think of you, Conz, I think of, up at the Hollywood Hills and going to, One Oak and having a time. But how's Kennedy doing? Some of the stuff you say, bro, about being a parent, though, it makes me laugh out loud.
Yeah, listen, not all of our audience wants to hear, Doug and I talk about our babies. You know what I mean? It's like a far cry from the Entourage days, but at the end of the day, it is part of our life, right? So, while the podcast is clearly about Entourage and all that sort of stuff, at the end of the day, these are our lives, and Scotty, obviously Scotty too. That's
yeah,
that's great, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
You got to keep your head on a swivel.
Here, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I got the roughest part of my day. I got a 3-hour battle when I get home. Just get around on my hands and knees. I'm covered in bruises. Young man's game for sure.
I remember one podcast you guys were talking about, when kids go to school and all the forms. You're like, "Hey, bro, I'm not filling out any forms, bro."
You got to do a walkthrough before the walkthrough. I'm like, "We're doing a walkthrough." I thought she's 2. How many walkthroughs you got to do at the school? They're vetting the parents, but that's a whole nother racket. It's crazy.
School's a racket. I don't.
You're looking at schools for Izzy already, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to witness the day where I'm like dealing with like teachers and dealing with like sick kids,
other parents.
I just want my kids to be safe and having fun with their friends and their kids. It's just
it's a lot.
You send them off to school, who knows what the fuck happens.
Zulai's like, try to talk to some of the other dads. I'm like, about what? When I look like I'm in a good mood, I'm talking to them. We go out for drinks. I don't know what you want me to do with these guys.
You're like, I got enough friends. I don't need any more friends here, do I?
Oh yeah, come on. Yeah. Thank God. By the way, thank God goal's gone, right? Everybody, goal is gone. And Scotty, I'm, sure you'll understand this as well. Like people are like, oh, you bring back goal. But truthfully, like with a kid, it's just trouble for me, It's literally on the way home.
Yeah, there's no way you're driving.
I don't
past
need any
goal.
help drinking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me start driving by. Like, all right, let me make sure the tomatoes are up and
Let's see what's going on back in the kitchen there. What's everyone?
Exactly.
Are those tomatoes fresh? By the way, give me a blue label.
Hey, wait for a second. Did we hang the jersey, the gold jersey, in the rafters? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, the jersey's in the rafters. I don't, listen, I'd love to go as a patron, but like the upside and the downside, it's not even close. There's just too much downside to it. It's just trouble waiting to happen,
I do say that back in the day, that goal would have been a good spot for a rookie party though. Because it wasn't very big, but you had the curtains you could have a little DJ in there and just have the boys and whoever else. It could have been a good little rookie spot.
And you could take it over,
Yeah, that's what I mean. You take it over and it's just the boys and whoever you invite, a little private party.
Especially after the party.
Yeah.
Like after the club. Just head right in there. Got the blinds.
Well, that was a good idea too.
Yeah.
Make sure you get in trouble with that liquor license.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we're here with the owner, all right?
Yeah.
Conz, let's talk about Action Park Media. Sean Avery. Aves is, I noticed he's in there a lot. He's doing his thing. The no gruffs given. Guy's doing stand-up. He's doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, what else is this fucking beauty doing?
He comes in and everybody it's like, everybody's fucking ass puckers up like Avery's here. It's like, quick, start drinking. Who's in the crosshairs today? Avery comes in hot, unexpected. And he, like I said, he stands in front. Now we have these mirrors where you can see outside. He immediately stands there and fires up a dart before he comes in. And then we have to watch him smoke a cigarette, before he comes in. But he's been great, man. And, he's been doing, he's dare I say, Avery's become the ultimate team player at Action Park Media, and it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's decides he wants to do stand-up comedy right now. For people listening,
that's crazy.
First of all, I would never. I just don't have the stomach for it, right? I go up there and bomb, and I'll be traumatized, right? And that's part of it. But usually when you're starting out in stand-up, you go and you do 5-minute set. 5-6 minutes, which is a long time to be standing up there telling jokes. Avery's going to do his first set. I'm like, how long are you going to do? He's like, I think 40. 40 what? He's like, 40 minutes. I'm like, Aves, it's impossible, bro. You can't, and apparently he's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's gone up twice and had 2. And I said, yo, Sean, you just got to get, and Mike Young, our comedian friend, is like, Sean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So be ready. Because you're going to bomb. And that's when you decide if you want to still be in comedy, So
can we talk about Nash for a second and his golf game?
It's crazy.
This little guy's golf game is on point. Like he's
draining 40 footers.
Not just that, he's got this. The swing is good, little lefty, but he's putting the ball on the center of the club.
Good looking kid.
He's hitting
and
a nice
Avery
fade like you.
Avery says he has not said one word.
Wow.
I said, Abe, did you teach him to keep the head down on that putt? And Abe said, I did not say one word to him. He watches it on TV, and he knows to keep his head down.
No way.
Yeah, he's 2. He's 2 years old.
Yeah, he's the same age as Izzy. It's crazy.
Did you hear about the little, we got squashed, but did you hear about Doug, Ellin, and Avery kind of?
I did hear about that, yes.
Did Doug tell you?
Yeah, well, no, I think I heard on Victory where he was kind of chirping
Avery,
Aves a bit.
Avery walks by, and I could tell Avery's in kind of a pissy mood, and he walks by and he's like, "Yo, why don't you quit posting pictures of your kid on Instagram?"
Yeah.
Right? Doug's like, I don't know, I didn't know if he was kidding, but I went to his Instagram, and the last 9 pictures are of his kid. So Doug is like, oh, guy's a hypocrite, tells me. And Avery said, yeah, but your daughter isn't sinking 40-foot putts. My stuff. But they worked it out on the air on Avery's show. Doug called in. It's pretty funny.
Dude, I saw the one social clip where Scotty was sitting in with Aves and Scotty had a little cocktail going, which I thought there's nothing wrong with. But when Aves lit him up the second time, he's like, all right, let's get going so I can get this guy the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and he was saying stuff about people drinking at Action Park. I said to Sean, maybe it's correlated with your arrival, right? The minute you come in, the drinks start flowing.
Yeah.
You get everybody on edge.
Shit, and Avery's here.
Scotty's not a content guy. Scotty's not trying to be on Avery's show. We're in the back editing, and Avery's like, I need you. And Scotty's like, all right. And he's sitting there, with his drink. And Scotty said, yeah, my ice was loud, but I can cut that. Scotty's like, I edit the show. I'll pull the ice cubes out, but Aves wasn't having it.
No, Aves like, wait. He's like, wait till you play that back. Wait till you play that back.
I mean, at least it wasn't just us drinking in there.
Yeah,
no.
Because I think back, and that was some of the best times was open up a cold one. You'd always have a fresh couple
ice beer
silver
fridge.
bullets,
Yeah, you'd have about 6 in there,
and then the wine would flow.
For the most part, the content is never as good.
Probably not.
Start slurring.
No, probably not. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
It felt like a locker room.
The Unairable episodes of Missin Curfew with Teddy, and
that's the one I want to listen. I want to listen to the one with Teddy. We were tuned up for that one.
Gosh, fucking unairable, bro. That's what
unairable.
It's just it is, and it remains unairable to this day.
It was uneditable, and
it just was such a. I wouldn't know where to begin to get that thing ready.
Well, we drank a whole bottle of Blue Label, so that was probably the real first problem.
It was awful, bro.
Conz, let's talk some Islanders, buddy. They're off to, they're slipping a little bit now, like you said, but they're right now sitting first in the wild card. You were confident at the start of the year. What have you liked, disliked? How have you thought the Islanders hockey so far?
Well, I think I know, Shane, you were saying before we got on that you had picked the Islanders to not get in, right? So, you got to remember, this is a team that came off back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals runs, and then not making excuses for them or for anybody else. I mean, it was their arena that wasn't ready, right? So you can't really blame anybody else for them starting on a 15, 16 game road trip. But, that happened. And then, the kind of weird COVID thing where they were playing with guys that, literally the whole team was, Bridgeport, right? So they got off to a tough start, but they're still that core. And then you think about these guys that are that, for me, the reason why I still like them is like, these guys that need to have a breakout year. I mean, this Dobson kid, you see this kid?
Yeah, he's nasty.
I mean, he's nasty. He's young, man. He's young. Yet, Oliver Wahlstrom, these guys are going to be all longtime NHL players. So you hope that, you got a breakout, that you had the breakout year. And then I think the Barzel signing sent a good message to sort of everybody in the organization that this is a good place to play.
Yeah, I was texting with you early in the year, and I was just about to text you this, and you're like, you know what, Obes, this guy I like is Romanov. I'm like, Conz, you're gonna love this guy. Did you see him hit Miles Wood the other night? Fucking,
I did.
Wow, man. You gotta love his game.
It's clean as it's going to be. And it's funny, I didn't know who he was, but whenever I go out, like I get accosted by hockey fans. So like some Canadian fan was like, "You're gonna love same thing. You're gonna love this guy." I'm like, "Really?" And he's young too. He's 22 years old. I mean, it's just so hard to wrap your head around, that these guys are doing this at that age. So
wow, he is that young, Conz. He's 22. I thought he was older than that, dude.
Oh,
and already re-signed.
Wow.
He's been in the league for 3. He just got a 3-year ticket this year.
I love his game, man. He makes guys pay. Like I love that Miles Wood, but he came across the middle with his head down, and that's what you do. You step up and fucking drill him.
You like those new jerseys, Conz? The throwbacks?
Did you like the fishing boat?
The other thing I want to real quick on that point, the guy that he hit from New Jersey, loved his response to that.
Yeah, Miles Wood. I love that guy's game.
Miles Wood said, "Yo, I have my head down," and he hit me with a good clean hit. Next question, right? That's it. It's like it's a vicious hit, but if it's going to be part of the game, like you can't penalize him for that. The fisherman jerseys, I'm from the time where that wasn't, so they sent one here. And thank God they learned finally never to put my name. Don't send me a name. Don't send me a hockey jersey with Connolly on the back. I'm not going to wear it. Okay. I like you either got to be Anders Lee, give me Brock Nelson or just nothing. Right. But they sent the jerseys over, and all of the young people in the office loved them. Right. So I think it's like the older generation sees it as whatever, bad times, but all the young people in the office, like, they're sick. And I think they sold the most in the NHL.
I think it just reminds you of the DiPietro and the Yashin signings, right?
And Berard, didn't Berard have to wear that fucking thing too?
Berard played his first NHL game in a fisherman jersey. Oh, wait, I saw Berard at the, they interviewed him. He was at the game. It was funny to watch Berard try to bullshit his way through how much he loved those jerseys. I could play a clip from Big Shot where he clearly is talking that he doesn't like the jerseys. But it was great to see the big fella in there repping the aisles and between periods talking about the jerseys.
I think they look the reverse fetcher ones that came out this year look better than the ones back in the day. I thought they looked pretty good. They wore them the other night for the first time that I saw, and I thought they looked pretty good.
Conz, have you been in that new barn yet? How's the new barn?
I went to the new barn one time and it was beautiful, but I'd spoken to a couple, this is last year. I'd spoken to a couple guys and it was like, basically the only thing that was ready at that point was like the ice, If you went into the back, I'm sure the guys were getting dressed in folding chairs, I mean, they did throw that building up pretty quick, but I'm sure now it's buzzing. I just literally went to the second game ever. So, but and it's so convenient. I mean, the trains, it's just, they did it the right way. Yeah,
it looks like a beautiful building. Conz, Sorokin at the start of the year, much like the Islanders, he's kind of cooled off of late, but at the start of the year, you told me hopes he's going to be in the Vezina candidate, and I was like, fuck, Conz, that might be a little bit of an Islanders fan feel, but dude, he came out of the gates hot. He's been unbelievable. Right now, he's fourth in goals against because he has been playing great of late, but you were right, man. This guy's kicking.
He had a couple games slide, but he's just one of those guys to feel like he has ice in his veins, and I think he also is someone to make timely saves as well, which I don't believe there's a stat for, right? I don't think there's a stat for that, but yeah, man, I like this guy. And listen, I'm a big fan of the 1-2 punch goalie, and Varlamov, on any other night, he can be as good. He's as good a number 2 in the league. I think you see them win the Jennings.
Wow, look at Conz pulling out the Jennings. Hey, not a baby, Conz.
That's a nice name for a trophy.
Baby, the Jennings.
Nice name for a trophy.
That's a good name for a trophy.
Who is Jennings?
Yeah. Who is that? Good question. Who is Jennings?
Did you see that they're changing the MVP in the NBA to the Michael Jordan Award?
Yeah, as they should. And they should think about doing that in hockey
Bobby
too.
Orr, 100% the Bobby Orr Award, and then it should be the Gretzky.
And they're gonna talk about changing the logo to Kobe, which they should definitely do for sure. I love Jerry West, but it's time for him to kick rocks.
Yeah, great point. Wow, look at that insider. Love that. Hey, Conz, the insider, NBA insider. Love it.
I mean, I saw it, ESPN. So
are you figuring out the Jennings? William Jennings.
William M. Jennings, a longtime governor and president of the New York Rangers and one of the greatest builders of hockey in the United States. The William M. Jennings.
How that gets with a good goalie pair. Who knows?
Yeah,
not a bad looking trophy though, Conz. I would have liked to take it to Oak with you back in the day. I think we could have done all right at your table there.
Hey, strap on the pads.
Hey, this is the Stanley Cup, girls. Come on in here. This is Conz's table. Conz, Matty Barzel, who we absolutely love. Sick flow, great style, great kid, British Columbia, bud. We said he needs to shoot the puck a little bit more. When you watching that, would you like to see him shoot a little bit more? Are you okay with he's just looking to dish to the boys?
I mean, listen, it would be great to see him rack up a few more goals, right? Because he's right at the top of the league in assists. And look, he's a setup guy. And yeah, listen, man, look, you get to the point as a fan where it almost becomes annoying when you hear people that have not played the game say ridiculous things, right?
Yeah.
Who am I to say that, Barzel needs to shoot the puck? I mean, I don't know. You would think you'd like to see him score more, so you want him to shoot. And at times you watch him on a break, on a 2-on-1, and you think, yeah, well, he should fire that, right? And he's not. So, for me, again, I'll leave that one up to the professionals, and I'm sure that it's something that him and his coach discuss, and I can't imagine that I would be the first one to put that out there, right? I'm guessing he's...
No, it's a great point, but...
You've earned the right to... You know the game, Conz. Sometimes you're a little hard. You know hockey, fella.
And he's listening. He's listening, Conz.
You know hockey. You know hockey, brother.
But I guess we say this because Crosby, back in his day, changed his game and started to shoot more and started to win. He's focused on little things, and then he wins the Art Ross. He scores 50.
And you see McDavid
now McDavid's doing the same thing. So it's almost like, maybe they get to the point in their career where they're like, listen, I can carry the puck for minutes on end, but what will change my game? It's shooting more.
Yeah.
What would allow me to be more
Getzlav,
complete?
Getzey throughout his career was known for a guy that had a great shot and probably should have fired more biscuits, especially near the end of his career, but they're just kind of a pass-first mentality.
These guys, they just love the apples.
It's nice setting the guy up backdoor, though, isn't it? Like, it's a good feeling. Here you go, buddy. Tap that one in.
Yeah, I mean, when you see a nice a pass where you're like, whoa, and then somebody bangs it into the net. It's like, of course the goal is good, but when you see a sweet pass, tape to tape like that, it's pretty cool.
Conz,
but he's another one. Scotty, he's 25.
I know. Crazy.
He's a stud. He's a stud.
And like as much as the who was the guy that we're going to sign from Colorado that went to just drawing a blank, Kadri. At 32, 7-7 might be lofty, but at 25, this kid's he's going to be 32 when that deal ends. He's going to sign another ticket, Barzel. So I like the youth. I like the core. They got a good D-core. They got a good goalie. I know the question that's bound to come is, do they need to make a move for Tarasenko at the deadline or whatever, right? A guy that just is like a pure goal scorer. And of course, but at what cost, right?
Yeah, which leads us into this. Your bias aside, being an Islanders fan through and through, is Patrick Kane a guy that would want to come to the New York Islanders this year? And if so, at what cost would be, my question to you?
Listen, Patrick Kane is probably, one of my favorite players of all time. And in the year, I want to say it was 2012 or 2014, the Kings won and like 6 or 7 it was like game 6 or whatever it was. And like watching Patrick Kane was like watching like an animal in the wild. I mean, he was like didn't even look like he was moving his legs. He was like gliding around like a shark and nobody wanted to come near him because he knew that, you knew that they were going to get burnt. So, to me, that would be my number one choice over any of those guys, just because he's a little gritty. Yeah. Right. He could add a little grit, a little scrap. But I don't know, man. Lou, who knows, man? I don't even care about whatever Lou says.
I mean, I guess like sometimes people, now they got the beautiful new building. Like some people look at the Islanders still and be like, why would you want to go to Long Island? Like, I don't know, brand new building, good team. You can zip in. You can zip into the city if you want to, if you're a young single guy, and if you're married, it's a great place to raise a family. Like to me, if you're a superstar, the Islanders are appealing. The one thing that would maybe scare you away is fucking the Godfather, Lou Lamoriello. Like, does Patty want to come in and be like, "Fuck, Lou's gonna tell me to cut my hair and shave my face," and that thing? You know what I mean, Conz?
Right, but it's at the end of the day, listen, everybody says it, but when it comes down to it, right? If the price is right and you want to take that one last shot. The other thing too, I don't know if you guys know this about the new building, but the new building is on the border of Long Island and Queens, right? If you jumped over the railing, you're in Queens. Like it's as far west and as far close to the city as you can possibly be and still be technically Long Island. But it's right near Citi Field. I mean, it's right there, right? So, but to your point, it's a great place to raise a family. Great golf courses, and you're in the city in a hop, skip, and a jump. Loop's nice to do it all the time.
And you got the history.
Hey, you got the history. The banners are up there. The banners are up there. Like when I would go and play the Islands at the old building, which I love, you see the banners, the retired jerseys. You're like, we're in greatness here. We're in greatness here.
Yeah. The other thing too, Shane, you said you were like, remember at the start of the year, you were like, wow, 50 years, huh, Conz?
Yeah, I'm like,
they've been around for 50 years. Right? It's like there's no expansion team anymore. They got some history.
Conz, you're the perfect guy to ask this. We got asked this question on NHL Network by our girl Jackie Redmond, who, if you don't follow Jackie, she's a great follow.
Redmond.
She's great. She knows her shit. She's a pro. She asked if Jack Hughes is the biggest superstar in the New York metropolitan area. And I said you have to play for the New York Rangers to be the number one star, or you got to play for the New York Yankees. As a New York guy,
Aaron Judge.
Yeah, do you believe that? Like, if you want to be the biggest star, you got to play for the Rangers or Yankees. Do you believe that kind of thing?
Unfortunately, I believe that is just going to be the case. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be the best. I mean, currently, right now in hockey, well, that's not true. Probably Panarin. I don't know. It's tough to, it's tough to say. But and by the way, I love Jack Hughes.
Me too.
He's just so fun to watch, and it's like he's got big things ahead. But yeah, it's going to be tough to really crown him anything because he's in New Jersey. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's just in New Jersey, right? He's not playing at the Garden. Panarin.
Yeah.
Probably Panarin.
I mean, Panarin, that's what I said too. I'm like, Panarin's still the guy. He's playing for the Rangers. He's fucking working the half wall. He's making 10 and a half bananas. He's the guy.
Yeah. Now, if you win the cup, right? If Barzel, whatever explodes and the Islanders win the cup, now that's a different conversation, right? It's like the Yankees and the Mets, right? the Mets could do whatever, but they're just not going to be the Yankees. And it's the same thing with the Islanders. And I can accept that because I get the same thing from the Yankees, right? It's like the Yankees are always going to be the Yankees.
Updog had a great point. Tell Conz what you said when you answered that question about the nightclubs.
Oh yeah, well, okay. Send both of them up to One Oak on a busy night. See which one gets in first.
Yeah.
Without waiting in line.
Like if you're playing for the Rangers, Devils,
it probably won't be either of them actually.
No, but our point being, if you're playing for the Rangers,
yes,
you're not waiting in that fucking line. If you play for the Devils, you might not be sliding back door with Conz at the best table. Is all I'm saying.
You're playing for the Islanders. You call me and I'll make sure you don't wait in the line.
Well, that's what we used to do. And we didn't even play for the Islanders. I'm like, Conz, I got to get in this fucking party. Come get me.
How many dudes you got, bro?
Oh, God, so many dudes. Who was it? I think this was actually Carcillo that called me one day. And I get my friend Danny A. He was in the club at Avenue. And I called him. I said, all right, listen, I need you to just listen to me. There's a couple dudes outside that I need you to get in. They're going to look a little rough around the edges, but I promise you, they're good guys.
They got no teeth and their hair's long, but trust me, they're all right.
They're going to look a little shaggy, but I promise you, they pay, they'll buy their bottles, and they're going to mind their own business. He calls me back. He's like, Conz, I got your buddies out here. Are you sure you're vouching for these guys? Yes, I promise. Carcillo and Riley Cote. Don't let their hair hanging down to their shoulders fool you.
Cote probably had two black eyes and cut eyes. He's good, bro.
He was, you see him now and he's so skinny, but back in these days, I mean, he was just a massive, massive, massive block of a man.
He was a killer.
Buddy, he used to come out with no bucket with the long hair. And I only played him once or twice because I was in the West. And there wasn't one time he didn't have two black eyes and he's just looking at me. And I'm like, there is no fucking chance I'm going to you tonight. But yeah, I mean, I don't care. I respect you, but I ain't going you.
No.
Like, you're not
my
good enough.
My shoulder hurts. Yeah. I got a bad shoulder.
and I would tell Cote this too. And I love him. He's been on this podcast. He's doing great things now. He wasn't quite good enough as a player, right? For him to be a huge impact in the game. So I'm like, dude, unless you literally run a guy right in front of me, I don't have to really step up here. But
I got guys to fight you.
I got guys to fight you. So, Conz, we had your boy. Speaking of Carcillo, we had your boy Doug Ellin on. What a great dude, man! You guys, once again, going back to victory. You guys have a great locker room feel, Conz. When I listen to it, it's like you guys are just sitting around, behind the set, shooting the shit. So he came on.
We really are.
Yeah.
And Doug is, dude. If I had 5 of Doug, this company would be worth $100 million.
What about
guys? The workhorse. Bro.
He's a little more dedicated than KD. Eh? He's a little more dedicated than KD.
KD's like traffic. It's bad. We had Gronk on. Gronk's on today. Whatever. I know this will be airing later, but we had Gronk and Dylan was like, we'll battle the traffic for Gronk, but outside of that, So we tried to do it a little bit later in the day, but Dylan comes in and he's just one of those guys, right? He doesn't need to practice. Dylan comes in and everybody just loves him. The guy just he crushes it.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He sits down and instantly I can't wait to hear what he has to say. And he's just he's such a veteran, right? When you guys start talking about old school Hollywood stuff with Chuck Sheen and I don't know, you guys had D.B. Sweeney on there. Kevin Dillon's been doing it I know you have too, but KD's been doing it for years, bro.
Dylan has a Forrest Gump way about him too, where he tells you stories where if it were not Dylan, you'd go, this guy's full of shit, man. This guy's lying. That story is impossible. But when it comes from Dylan, you're like, I told you the story. Dylan is said something about Guns N' Roses being my favorite band. And Dylan's like, yeah, why don't you ask Slash and Axl, who was footing the bill when they were trying to finish Appetite for Destruction. I was like, it's a true story. I'm like, what are you talking about, Kev? He's like, ask him. Next time you see him, ask him. Right? So I'm like, you know what? I think I will. A couple months later, I'm at a party. We're at somewhere on Sunset, one of the hotels, and I'm out back by the pool smoking a cigarette. I looked at him. I'm like, fuck, here's Axl. Here comes Axl Rose walking through the party. Rock star, bro. You want to talk about a guy walking through a party and heads turning? Here comes Axl Rose. And he sees me across the pool and he comes around over to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I think he's coming to talk to me. First words out of his mouth, your boy is a fucking lunatic. Boy Dylan is a fucking lunatic. Tell him I said what's up. And it was like a real thing, So, yeah, man, Dylan's been kicking it around for a long time. And, listening to him and these guys get around and tell stories about old school Hollywood. And it is old school Hollywood in the 80s where things were just different, So pretty refreshing.
Yeah, let's talk about the Carcillo story. You said, did Doug kind of Let's hear the Conz version. Let's hear the Conz version.
I mean, yeah, I think I know the version because it was me that it happened to. Like, it's like Doug. That's why Doug is so wealthy because he's just a great storyteller, and I believe he believes that stuff that he says. Clearing up a couple things. There was no hat. Carcillo didn't score a hat trick. Carcillo, I'm sorry, I love you. He didn't score a hat trick. He might have had a Gordie Howe hat trick.
Yeah, that I believe.
Right. So he did score honestly, like a Sports Center goal for sure. Okay. But so the ice box, right?
Yeah.
Doug got that right. It was great. So like I'm sitting there and I'm basically sitting shoulder to shoulder with Carcillo, and Gretzky and Tocchet are behind the bench, and Gretzky's going for his 100th win as the Coyotes coach. So it's kind of a big game. And, Ivanins and, by the way, Avery might have been on that team. I'm not positive. But, I'm sitting there. I hear a tap on the glass, right? I'm not somebody that's going to try to talk to these guys. I don't know. I guess it's just glass at the end of the day, but I don't know. I didn't know that you could communicate so easily. He's tapping on the glass. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, take me to the Standard tonight? He wanted to go to the Standard. I was like, nah, bro, we got better places. We got better places than the Standard. He's like, all right, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, man, I heard you like to throw the glove. What's up, man? You going to drop the gloves tonight or what? And he's like, yeah, man, we'll see. So he goes out on his next shift. And honestly, dude, he'll tell you. Have you asked him about this? Yeah. He scores, a beautiful goal. And then he skates to center ice and he points at me, takes his glove off, he points at me in the stands. And like, you could see Gretzky and Tocchet like looking like, what are these guys talking about? Right. So the dialogue goes on and he comes back. He's like, you like that goal? And I was like, yeah, bro, that was a sick goal. But you know what? It wasn't a fight. Right? Now in hindsight, knowing what I know now about concussions, and I look at that and I feel bad. Wow. And I've talked to Carcillo about it, and he said, well, you don't know what you don't know. And also, I could have also not fought the guy.
He fought the biggest guy in the team. He fought the biggest guy in the team. But
he was Carcillo took over the game so bad that somebody had to put a stop to his what he was doing.
To the madness.
Showboating, and it was like nobody else was playing. He was the only one on the ice, was Carcillo. But man, he got hit with that. He got hit with that bomb, and he had a big egg on his head.
Yeah.
And when at the end of the game, Gretzky was like, hey man, you mind coming back into the locker room and like meeting my guy that you had riled up the whole game? That was the first time I met Gretzky. I'm like, sure, shake hands, we go back. And Carcillo and I been friends ever since. But yeah, man, I felt bad. It was one of the most unique sports experiences I've ever had. And then there's that picture that you guys posted, like him coming back, from the penalty box to the thing, and I'm like, got my kind of thumb pressed up against the glass. I feel like they might have cropped out the goose and soda.
Yeah, they did. There was definitely a goose and soda there. That I know
for sure. There was a goose and soda. So I don't know if they cropped that out or I managed to tuck that below the boards. But I have that picture framed in my office.
So needless to say, Carcillo doesn't remember going out after that game because he's probably had a nice little.
I'll tell you what, we put the fight up after the story came out with Doug, and there's a thing called seatbelting in hockey cons where, if I fight someone bigger than me, I just grab him here and I hold on for dear life, right? And you just try to get through the fight without getting your fucking head knocked off. Carbomb started that fight and he was throwing, and the one thing about Carbomb, the scouting report on him when we were coming up as fighters is he's undersized, he can take a punch, and he's got a big right. That's what I thought when I thought about Carcillo. And he threw a couple at Ivanis and got him, which left him open, vulnerable for the fucking sledgehammer from Latvia. And the sledgehammer came down.
He definitely fought, and this guy was. I mean, you see him, but I don't know if it does him any justice. This is a very large man.
The first time I saw Ivanis, sorry,
he was playing with me.
Yeah, he came out on the ice and he just was like this, and I'm like, where is this guy from?
Our training camp, we'd go in and we had fitness testing, and there would be chin ups, there would be bench press, there would be squats, and there would be like some core. He would take the fucking squat rack, he would pick the thing up, go over on the bench and just start ripping bench with what we were all doing in squats. It was nuts. It was crazy.
The funny thing about
That's
that,
crazy.
Was Carcillo, the Coyotes were flying out that night. So I didn't even get to take Carcillo out that night. And then soon after that, he got traded to the Flyers. But when I actually did take him out for the first time, him and Cote slept over my house, right? And this is a frightening visual. There is, and I was leaving town in the morning. I had to leave these guys in my house. And when I walked out of my house, Cote was asleep on an air mattress in my house with just legs hanging off of it. I'm like, can't believe I'm going to leave these guys in my house. This is crazy. I'm like, all right, fellas, same thing. I guess lock up when you leave. Please be careful and, be nice to Bossy. My dog. Yeah, my dog wrapped up. The whole thing was pretty surreal.
Be nice to Bossy. Remember the one time they had Bossy? They're like, hey.
holding him up to the
camera. To Conz. He's like, Loops and Carcillo, I think, we're like, hey, we got Bossy out here. Oh, Conz, you're a beauty. Hey, brother, Super Wednesday, a phrase that you came up with and told me, and I had some great Super Wednesdays, and I know you did throughout your career. How they're not so super anymore, are they? Not even for me. Are they not so super for you either anymore?
Had you not heard of the term Super Wednesday before I?
No, you came up with it. Yeah, you came up with it.
Yeah, like that's I don't know if that is something that happened with me and my buddies on Long Island, but it just was a thing, and I think even statistically, it's the biggest bar night in the country for sure.
Yeah,
like the most alcohol is sold, more alcohol is sold on that night than any other night. Everybody's home for Thanksgiving. People of all ages, right? You go home and you go to the local bar to meet up with everybody, but it used to be Super Wednesday. It was just epic. Like, basically like, wake me up for turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
2 in the afternoon, I'd be like, and come home in pieces at 6 o'clock in the morning. But what a great night. Yeah, not so super anymore.
When you were humding and when you were going after, was Super Wednesday in New York? Were you back home with family usually, or would
Super Wednesday was Long Island.
Long Island, yeah.
Super Wednesdays on Long Island, yeah. It was because that's where it's biggest, right? A lot of everybody's away at college, and it was like when everybody would be people you wouldn't see for the whole year, and then the one night you'd see them. Super Wednesday.
Yeah. I had some great nights.
It is a holiday, right? National holiday.
Well, the thing about it is hockey doesn't play any games on Thanksgiving, Conz, because of football, right? We play on Black Friday. So you knew, and I got lucky. I got upshall bounces on Super Wednesday. I played more home games than road games. So I would play a Wednesday. It was usually a 5 o'clock start, early start, try to get to 2 points, and then I had something locked and loaded, and I had, like you, I was sleeping. Right to the bar. So... Conz, New Year's Eve, buddy. This is going to come out right around New Year's Eve, and I just thought about all the epic stories you had throughout your life. But didn't you do a double dipper back in the day where you caught 2 New Year's Eves? Can you tell the fellas that?
Last New Year's Eve, I'm sitting at home and I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't go to sleep before the ball drops. I just can't do it. We got to at least make the ball dropping before I go to sleep. I'm literally like, last couple of years, I've been in bed 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I gotta stay up till 12 o'clock. But one year, I want to say it was 2012, turning 2013. And again, it was put to us like this, like, we're going to do 2 New Year's Eves. We're going to be in Sydney. And then we're going to celebrate in the Sydney Harbor, and then everybody's getting on a plane and we're going to land in Vegas. And I'm like, oh my God. So it's a 15-hour flight, right? So we go, we tear it up in Sydney. Everybody gets on this like big, I don't know, like a bus, I guess like a player bus, right? And they just move everybody over. We get on the plane. We landed in Vegas at about 10:45 at night, and it was straight from the plane. Of course, I had to go home and I'm like, dude, I had to go home and shower. I came through the back door during the countdown. I just made it, but I'm like, I can't do the 15-hour plane clothes. I gotta
freshen up here a bit.
Freshen up here. It's New Year's Eve. But it's funny because when I landed, my phone, the year on my phone actually went back. So it was 2013, and then when we landed, it dropped back to 2012 again, which is pretty
badass. Yeah. I'd love to see what was going on in that bird, actually. That would have been.
By the way, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. You know me, I got to get my nap in. Yeah. But they were raging on that thing. People were raging on that thing.
That's a long 15 hours of raid. That's a long 15 hours.
People were smoking darts. It was a fucking free for all on this plane. And then so we landed, but the effect that it had on my body, like I woke up with flu-like symptoms, and then I was literally in bed for 2 weeks. It absolutely crushed me, and I said, like, you know what? I got the memory, got a couple picks, never again.
Yeah,
would I ever attempt to do something so ridiculous? It just didn't make any sense. We should have just stayed in Sydney.
No, that story's fucking. I mean, that's beyond National League. That's next level. So
yeah, no, we've had a couple. We've had a couple good ones. I kind of like, it's nice to wake up at home on New Year's Day,
Yeah, it
It's
is.
fun. New Year's Eve, I like to be out somewhere and you wake up in that hotel room with the hangover. It's like, oh man. So it's kind of nice to wake up at home, but I'm going to Colombia this year.
I know. Well,
There you
buddy,
go.
that's where I want to go.
Medellin.
I want to go there so bad, bud. I want to go
Nice.
there so bad.
Have you been, Upshaw?
I have never, no, but we've actually had one trip canceled.
Yeah, I was supposed to go with our boy Billy
Yeah.
Quinn from Dallas. We were going to go to Brazil for a UFC fight and stop in Colombia, and it got canceled because of COVID. But our boy Billy Quinn, we were just with Cabo. We're going to try to go to Colombia in the new year.
It's funny because we're looking at it for Airbnbs. And of course, it's a different kind of a look now, right? You're not looking for but the prices on some of these places, I was thinking, man, if I were going here with my buddies, we could get some of these sick Airbnbs are super cheap and nice and right there. Just not necessarily family friendly, but you guys could go and be kings out there in Colombia.
We wouldn't go without you, Conz.
I'm the last man standing, Conz. He's family guy too. And Loops, I don't know what Loops is doing, but Loops is around here. So
Loops is in Cambodia, bro. Loops
is everywhere, bro. He was in Thailand and Vietnam, and now he's in Aspen.
Cambodia. He went to Angkor Wat, and
Yeah.
I've been there, so I know. He ate that fucking scorpion on that stick. I almost died watching it. The most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He don't give a fuck. He ate. You see him? You know what I'm talking
he'll
about?
eat anything.
yeah.
Yeah, he will eat anything. I
Fucking
give that
sucked
to
that
Luke.
scorpion off a stick. It was like, it was disgusting. Bro.
I mean,
I hit him. I'm like, bro, please
he
take
was-
that down off the IG.
He was living his inner Anthony Bourdain over there. Like he was trying to drink as much soup and he was going full on.
He was game for anything.
He was game for he wanted
Right.
to take in the culture, and
Take in the culture.
I'm sure he did.
Right.
He
took it in.
He did pick up a sick pair of pants over there too that he kept rocking. I was like, "Where'd you get those?" He's like,
they-
"Buddy, they were $2 at this little stand here." I'm like, "Those
They
are
wouldn't
sick.
let him wear shorts,
Bring
right?
those babies back."
I don't think he couldn't went into this one place with shorts on. So he's like, everyone had to wear pants, so I had to
right.
buy a pair.
Soupy, little
Little
soupy with the
soupy,
pants
yeah.
on.
My credit card is still at the steakhouse, by the way, from that night.
Oh,
I got to get back there to get my credit card. I left it there that night, and it's still there. I can't.
Catch, yeah.
I got to get it
nice.
before I go to Colombia. I don't have a credit card. I gotta get my credit card.
I left mine at Hyde that night too. I had to get my boy Colin to go to drive it, get it for me, bring it down. It cost me another fucking $200 just to get my
I
card
knew
back.
you guys were making a mistake leaving that place.
Oh, dude, I didn't last very long at Hyde,
Right
Conz.
there.
Yeah, but by the way, Hyde had a nice little atmosphere set up there.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
went in the bathroom and looked at myself. I'm like, "You're done, bud. You'll go home, buddy."
It just isn't the same, right? It's a good vibe, but I don't know.
No, I
went to a club for Scotty's birthday recently, and it was like, man, I don't know. It took a lot out of me. I ducked out at 1:15. No goodbyes.
Let's just say I wasn't seeing the ball like I was back in 2012 at Hyde with you, Loops, and Uppy on the corner table where she was flowing. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you're not. You lost something on your fastball. Now you just got to figure out a way to get guys out. You got to figure a way to get guys out.
I'm leaning on my middle infielders to turn two. Make that play for me, fella. Make that play.
Make him hit a ground ball. You're not. Put a little movement on it. The speed, the velocity is gone on the fastball for everybody.
It's gone. It's gone, Conz. It's gone.
I mean, stock tip Dave, who goes out 4 nights a week, is like
He
talking about
does?
this girl. I'm like, Dave, she's 21. You're 41, and even if you weren't but these girls are, they're young. They're just, it's a new thing. It's the influencer world out here. LA's changed that way.
Conz, another great thing about Victory that I was listening to a week ago or whatever. You're like, you asked Dave to do something. You're like, Dave's walking right now, and I just can't understand why he's not running. I just can't understand. I just can't understand why he's not running.
Takes little steps and shuffles around. What else? Yeah, man. I'm excited about New Year's Eve. It's a tougher trip. It's an 8-hour flight to Colombia with an 18-month-old. So I'm psyched about that. But
Wow.
yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
So you love
I'll
being
get you guys the report.
you love being a dad, right? This guy's a great dad. He's an unbelievable dad. You're loving every minute of it. I think if I ever have a baby, or it's going to be a girl. So how's being a dad? How's being Kennedy's dad? Is it good?
It's great. I mean, I think yes, I'm sure, Uppy will tell you this too. It's like just at a certain point, instinct takes over. You know how to do things. You know what I mean? Where you might not think, or what would I do? It just kind of it takes over, but it does change things, man. Like I said, everywhere you go, like I said, I don't know if I told you this, but never really thought much about parks, right? You go to the park, all of a sudden you're looking at guys, like, does this guy have a kid? Where's your kid, bro? Kid roaming around here in a couple minutes. I'm gonna call the cops. The kid just be walking around here. Anybody else seen this guy's kid? You know, like never thought about it before. You know, just like all these things. And even when you go to look at the schools, you're going like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna drop my kid off here, and they're gonna walk in. I'm gonna drive away. So. Have you had to do that yet, Upshaw?
Yes. In fact, every time since we last had you on and you told that story, I can't help but just fucking head on a swivel when I'm at the park, just going like, where are all these other dads fucking checking out the same?
Hey, where's this guy's kid, bro?
We might have to grab this
guy.
guy.
Does not deliver a kid in 2 minutes. We gotta take action. We all gotta go after this guy.
Oh, Conz, you're
it's great, Conz, but you see like you see yourself in them, right? So that's the coolest part. Is like you see little things that they're doing, and you're like, yeah, that's my kid.
Yeah, and of course, anytime there's like a little mini temper tantrum, it's always like, oh, where she got that from? I'm like, oh, it's my fault, right? Anytime there's like any aggression, it's my fault, right? So, but no, you do the facial expressions and things. It's great, and for me now, it's getting fun because now she hears the garage door open. She knows it's me, all that kind of stuff. So I'm having a great time. But I think 1 might be the magic number for me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm with you. If I ever have any, it's going to be one and done, fella.
Right. Make sure you find the right girl.
That's my biggest problem, bud. I'm going back to the bullpen being like, hey, I'm sorry, by the way. Listen, what are you doing now? Are you married? Are you married here? Are you all right? What are you doing? Where are you? Oh, you okay? Next down the old
I'm in
bullpen.
a better place. I'm in a different place in my life right now.
Listen, I'm a completely different guy. I've grown up. I don't go out anymore. I don't do all that nonsense. I don't do that.
I don't
stuff
let flowers sleep on my couch.
You get up pretty early. You guys, you're early riser, right? Oops, you've gotten.
I listen, Conz. If I would act the way I acted now when I was 25, I would have, I wouldn't have as many stories, but I would have never been in trouble. Probably would have made a few more bananas. Would have been I'm in bed early. I'm up early. I'm not doing a whole lot, buddy. It's pretty mellow.
Right. That's good. That's good.
That's good.
And then the other thing I would say about the kid is like, you got a few years, but eventually, because it's a lot of work.
How old were you when you had Kennedy? Because you're kind of, I kind of look up to you. How old were you?
46.
Yeah. See, so I got some time. I'll be 40 in August. The Conz out at 46. I got time.
You got time, but you'll be down on your hands and knees, bro. Bruises on the elbows and knees. It's like it's a taxing work. It's a workload for sure.
If you think your back hurts now, just relax and wait till.
Conz, I got 2 nephews that are 5, Porter and Smith, 2.5, and they were here in April for 10 days, 8 days, whatever it was. And by the end, I'm like, I love you guys. Right. See you later. Same thing in the summer. They were there for 7 days at the cottage. I love you guys. I told Uppy, I was so exhausted that night. At 9:30, I was in bed, like just done chasing these guys around.
Best kind of kids are your friends' kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Or your brother's kids or your sister's kids, right? Like it's like boats. It's the best kind of boat, your friend's boat.
Yeah. Hey, Conz, man, we really appreciate this. Conz, we'd love to come up in the new year and maybe do Aves Pod and get the studio with you guys. Let's
should come in and do the Aves Pod. Yeah. You guys can do like some kind of thing, but it'd be fun. And then we'll go it's timing with you guys, right? Because we know what happens when you guys get here.
Yeah, no, we'll do a late afternoon and
we gotta pencil you in for like a 4:00 record, you know what I mean? 4:00 session. But we could do me and Avery. We could do Action Park Media, Hall Pass Media.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You, Aves, Uppy, Scotty in the back. We'll suck tip Dave. We'll get
the beefy Scotty running the session. And we'll be ready to go.
We'll appreciate it. Conz, I appreciate you taking the time, buddy. You're always part of the Missin Curfew family here, buddy. I love you and have a great holidays.
Happy New Year and congratulations on all your success. Keep it rolling.